Well, hello, everyone. Tonight we have a very unique show. I mean, all the shows are unique, but actually, I'm taking you to the future. You might
Ooh,
be thinking, what the hell's going on here? I'll tell you in a minute. So, our guest actually today is literally from the other side of the world, and it's morning time, I believe. That's where it is. So, we're really, catapult into the next day. So, it's Thursday, whatever we are today. uh, I think so, right?
yeah,
so,
yeah,
so,
it
so,
is.
and it's ironic because the topic today will be about something that has to do with time and life and enjoyment and so on and so forth. So stay tuned.
Deep.
Hurricane H here. You are watching the iHealth channel, listening on iHealth Radio, and today's guest, special from the land down under, Travis Bell, and we will be. He's also known as the bucket
The
list
bucket list
guy.
guy.
All right, and we're
That's
going to
it.
talk about what that is. I mean, we all hear the bucket list. We'd like to know a little bit about the history and how you picked up that, and tell us a little bit more, all that good stuff. So Travis, first things first, you tell us about yourself, and then we'll take it from there.
For sure, man. Yeah, I've been. I'm here in Melbourne. I'm about an hour and a half out of Melbourne here in Australia. So yes, I am from the future. It is a day ahead of where you are, Hurricane, and yeah, the future looks bright, man. So it's all good. We've got this thing called a vaccine. This stuff called coronavirus. Look, that's all going to come to an end very shortly, I
That's
hope.
right.
Um, so
Well, we,
we
we
can,
hope, we hope.
and then we can travel, once again, and I can get over to the United States, and I can get over and do what I've been doing for the last 10 years. I've been running around for the last 10 years. I've been running around the world as the bucket list guy. After someone called me the bucket list guy 10 years ago. And I, way more than travel, obviously, but I do miss travel. If you told me to get on a plane, I reckon, 2 years ago, if you told me to get on another plane to the United States, I would have maybe punched you in the face, mate. But
17 hours?
now it's, well, it depends where you live, but like we're just used to it here in Australia. If we want to go out of Australia and go anywhere, it takes us 12 hours. It's crazy. We're just used to it. But it's funny, isn't it? Because per capita, we hold we hold the most amount of passports per capita in the world, next to New Zealand and also Saudi Arabia. Isn't that weird? Even though it costs us and we fly. Anyway, so I've been
Amazing.
doing the bucket list guy stuff for about 10 years. Prior to that, I was in the personal fitness training industry for 20 years. So I founded and franchised a chain of personal fitness training studios around Australia, always in the game of helping people, always in, the coaching space. And now it was about health and fitness, but now it's about life. So stoked to be able to run around the world as the bucket list guy for the last 10 years, that's for sure.
Right. So you've obviously loved traveling. I mean, that is the element. Now, to your
I mean,
point,
who doesn't,
Australia.
right?
Well, there are
Yeah.
people that may debate that, not me. I mean,
Whereabouts are you in the States? Whereabouts are you? Are you in the
so
States?
yeah, definitely. I'm actually broadcasting about 10 minutes out of New York City on the Jersey side.
Wow.
We're
So
just
fun fact, uh, by Americans hold the least amount of passports per capita in the world too. Isn't
again.
that interesting?
It is. I would
Yeah.
have thought the other way around, but hey, I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
question that,
yeah.
right? Well, you know what it is? I
Anyway,
mean, it is a pretty vast, country. There's a lot to do. A
yeah.
lot of people don't even
Lots.
travel
I
overseas.
love America.
They keep it down here. I mean, they move from state to state. There's plenty to do here.
Yeah,
But again, there are folks like me who love to travel.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we usually do a couple of times a year, if not 3 or 4 times a year. I try to spread them out so this way you don't get depressed. And then, of
yeah.
course, uh, COVID hit, right? So
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
hold
for
for
sure.
everything. Actually, it's funny, like just today, to date, I would have been in Aruba last year at the same time. I was
Don't even
actually,
start me.
I was on a beach right now. So you know how I'm dreading
Uh,
that. And you having you today here as the bucket
the
list. Oh my
Mate, the
God.
worst thing about social media, right now, especially, is getting reminders of like on Facebook and stuff like that of where you were a year ago or where you were 5 years ago. And because you posted it, it's like, and all this travel stuff's coming up at me like, mate, if you just put me in a plane to go anywhere right now, even if the plane started here and finished here and we just went up and did a few circles and then come back down, I'd be happy. So
I'm
you're
with
getting
you,
all
man.
these reminders.
I'm with you. I mean, first of all, it is very relaxing. I mean, when you travel, I mean, again, depends. I mean, some people will tell you, I travel a lot, but I need a vacation on vacation. Right? I mean, there's always that.
Yeah.
But it depends what you do, what your hobbies, what you like to, so there's different ways to vacation. But really today on our channel, what we want to highlight the most is the importance of travel in the mindset, in your health, right? And your mental state. And this last year, as we said, COVID hit and people's lives kind of it was put on hold for the most part.
Yeah.
And really that is almost a calamity, disaster. And right now there's, even if you want to travel, there are very, very few places where you can go to, too many restrictions.
Yeah.
We don't know everything that's going on. There's vaccines, there's passports that we're talking about, there's many things. But what happened this year, to me, at least, and I know for a fact, a lot of people may think the same, is that we had to take a new, fresh look at life, right?
Everyone has. I think, in our, no, I don't think any moment in history has allowed the world to take the big collective deep breath in to recalibrate like we've been given this opportunity to do this right now. So we don't want to talk about like we know the news. God, I've been through about a depression, right, albeit mild. And real quick backstory, and we'll come back to this.
Yeah.
But I had my personal fitness training studios. We had them all around Australia. I was helping. We did started with one client, ended up with tens of thousands of clients, over 2 million personal training sessions, 300 odd personal trainers working under that brand. And I built it into a bit of a monster. A few things were going wrong, and I legal things, and we had some other things happening in my life, which led me to go down the bit of a downward spiral and fall into depression. But instead of going on heavy antidepressants, which is like a Band-Aid effect, I found myself in personal development seminars. I forced myself to read the books and to get coaches and this sort of thing. Did that for about a year, and then to sort of get to the psychology, to get to what I was going through, because I didn't believe in just putting a Band-Aid over the top of it. So I found, I had to work through some stuff, and it wasn't until a friend of mine actually said, "Why don't you teach this stuff?" I went, bang, that helped me sort of compartmentalize what I was learning. And I learned, all about positive psychology, Akagi principle, law of attraction, NLP. God, if you put a course on back then, mate, I would have done it and run to the back of the room. And then he said, "Yeah, go and teach this stuff," and it helped me compartmentalize. So I put on a talk, a 3-hour talk, and I started sharing my list to do before I die. I'd had one since I was 18. This is only 10 years ago. I'm certainly not anywhere near that age right now. And I started sharing this list, and I had one written down since I was 18. And I surveyed the 40 odd people that were in the room and said, "Who else has got one of these lists to do before you die?" Actually written down, out of your head and actually written down. And I was like, "No, I was the only freak in the room." I said, "Well, what do you want to do? And what do you want to do? Why are you setting up your business? Why do you want money? Why do you want time?" And quite commonly we'll hear, pay off the house, put the kids through school, do a bit of travel when I'm older, and possibly sicker. So, and I'm like, over here, that's all kind of big goals. I get that. But over here, we've got depression on the way up, statistically, anxiety, the overprescription of antidepressants, suicides, youth suicides. We've even got this thing now, Hurricane, called the loneliness epidemic. It's a real thing. Google it. It's the adverse effect of social media, right? We're all comparing our behind the scenes footage with someone else's highlights reel, and that's making us anxious. That's making us more disconnected, even though we think we're more connected. So these statistics are at scary rates. There's even 89% of people who go to work every day in the States, what they call disengaged. So that's 89% of people who go to work every day are not really into what they're doing. They're just getting the paycheck coming home and repeat Groundhog Day. So with these stats climbing, with my own experiences, this is why I created what I created. And this is why I started talking about all this. As at the end of that seminar, a friend of mine said, "Hey, how's the list to do before you die stuff?" It's really fired everyone up. It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy. And I went, ping, light bulb moment. Went home and registered the bucket list guy 10 years ago. And in that, defranchised the whole, my other business, got out of the fitness industry and into what I'm doing now, primarily as a speaker, as a coach. But really, the 4-hour work week ruined my life. I had all these corporate leases. I'm sure you know all about it. I had all these leases, and I'm like, I would love to run everything from a hammock like Tim Ferriss, in Thailand or something like that.
Everybody's dream, right?
That's right. Right. So, to have that play out through this, I guess, filter of bucket list, it's my values, it's me, it's the authentic me out there helping people, is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And mate, you go through COVID in on top of all those stats that are already scary, mate, we've got some real mental health challenges right now and into the future, not just old, angry guys like us. It's the youth, man. I've got 4 kids, and it's the youth, and I want to encourage everyone who's watching and listening to step up, be accountable, to be a bucket lister, because I won't swear, but we freaking need you to step up.
Yes.
And be the light, be the example for others to follow. And that's so important right now.
Well, you just hit on a point. I mean, you talk about the youth. I mean, I'm experiencing that. I got a couple of teenagers, and they've been homeschooling for the last year. They haven't gone out. I mean, we have not taken them anywhere. I mean, locally, whatever, but no real vacation. And they've been used to vacationing, so they're really in a point where they just want to go out at any opportunity. They're all like, can we go somewhere? Can we do something? And now they want to go back to school. So
no.
Well, I mean, they want to socialize. To your point, they just can't be, in a room every day, 24/7. I mean, it's just becoming a little bit too much for them. But this is for a lot of people, not just my kids. I'm sure around the world.
Same.
Exactly.
What we've really, been given the gift, not initially, not in an acute sense. When all this went down, first wave, second wave, maybe third wave, who knows? Everyone went into the bunker, so to speak. Bunker in their minds and literally in bunkers. And the world is ending. But hey, here's a tip: switch off the news. That might help. Having been through depression, one of the things. Oh, mate. I
this is good news.
Oh, dude. Not being blissfully ignorant, because you pick it up from other people complaining around you, but like having been through my own mental health challenges, one of the things that I did was literally turn off the news. And so I didn't watch the news for ages. I still rarely do. So you start your day listening to bad news, and you finish your day listening to bad news. And, I was getting obsessed with all this starting. I was getting obsessed with the numbers. How many deaths today? How many, what's the running tally? It's like, what am I doing? So what's that an effect? The scare tactics that come along with that, the fear that comes along with that. So, but fast forward, 6 months down the track now, I think it's a real gift. And I honestly, in my heart of hearts, feel that this is a real gift for us, like you said before, to recalibrate on our new definition of what work-life blend looks like. If we're looking at going back to the old normal, that's shattered. Get over it. If you're in business, if you haven't adapted and innovated by now, get out of business. Real simple. Because you should have adapted. You should have fallen into more technology. You should have kind of redefined this thing to survive. And mind you, some have thrived through this, but innovated in a way where this new definition of how you're being productive at work, in your business, is, and that's going to be here to stay. Trust yourself in more in that adaptation. But no point in time have we been given the gift to really recalibrate, take a big deep breath in, and test and measure. Have I got meaning? Have I got purpose? Am I fulfilled? Am I happy? A lot of people have gone, you know what? This is the chance. This is the chance to change things up. I'm not happy, and I'm going to do this. So many people have started a side hustle. So many people have quit what they've been doing and have started new things. I think when you're going through crap in your life, you're always comparing you against the rest of the world. But right now, the whole world, we're all in this together. Rare moment in time. So there's no one to really complain to, because everyone's like, dude,
I feel you.
Going through the same thing, so shut the hell up and get on with it.
That's right.
So I think it's a really good opportunity for people to recalibrate on their life plan, on their bucket list, of course, and also their business plan or career plan.
So Travis, you hit on multiple elements, really points, but two very, very core ones. One is you said about someone's working 89% or plus, they just go out to work. They're like zombies. They do the stuff, they work out. And that is a fact. I mean, when you don't like what you do, you're stressing yourself. If you enjoy what you do, you will never work a day, as we say, right?
Yeah.
That is a big deal. That's one point. The second point you mentioned about someone that's got all these dreams. I want to grow. And by the way, I'm a big thing about dreams. And, I do a lot of those types of motivational things. But to your point, what's the point? What's the outcome? What's the end, game? You're working towards these massive goals, and that's great. We want people to have goals and set them and follow them and do all that and really achieve and realize their dreams. However, not in the defense of your health and your mental state, and also enjoying life. And to your point, this is something that I've experienced a long time ago. I was working as a consultant for a company, and the person that was kind of reporting to in the capacity that he was running, his father worked literally until the age of 65. He retired. He died the next day.
That is the most depressing thing that I think of. I've been thinking about quite regularly lately. A guy, a girl, anyone who works their guts out and then goes, they sacrifice their happiness to enjoy later. And then later is like 1, 2, maybe 5, 10 good years, and then it's over, and they weren't happy. I'm talking about my dad to a certain extent. And there's so many people that build up a legacy, pass it on, sell the business, and then we got
Oh, trust me. Well, so the reason I mentioned this example, because that impacted me. This is, I would say, about 17 years ago. And literally when that happened, I took a promise and an oath that I would never just work because I want to work. I tried to retire a couple of times already. Didn't work out yet, but I'm working on it. But the idea is when I heard that, it kind of just hit home. What? Life is too short. And before you know it, it's over. What have you done? Other than, to your point, legacy maybe, but for you, memories. Did you enjoy? And when you get older, you also get sicker.
This is the whole reason. This is the whole reason I created this whole bucket list philosophy, right? Is what I did, the TED talk, what I've done the book on is the My Bucket List Blueprint is literally a 12-letter acronym to help people really unpack, unearth, extract and articulate all the things that they want to do in their life. And really gives a person a greater sense of why they're doing everything. These are the things that give you meaning, purpose, fulfillment, not just the travel stuff. That's one of the 12 letters. And it's where you can really, so I say a bucket list is a tangible life plan where our career plan or our business plan should fit into our life plan and not be the other way around. So it really brings home that work to live principle, right? Yep. And this is not just about ticking a whole bunch of cool stuff off. It's really about how we reverse engineer every aspect of our lives in order to make this stuff come to fruition. It's the growth of us on this journey towards these self-imposed destinations. But more importantly, it's about the person that exists on the other side, the person that we do not know yet, That's the bigger version of ourselves. That's called our potential, right?
Mhm.
And so when we, as human beings, we want to, I want to encourage everyone to get curiously excited about what's on the other side of your bucket list, about the like, how big of a freaking game can you play in this life? Seriously, like, dude, people are dying at 40 and being buried at 80. We all know them, right?
Yes.
I want people, instead of delayed gratification, which is what the whole retirement system is built on, right? I'll be happy later. I'll be happy when syndrome. I want people to be happier now. Nothing
Now
wrong
is the
with that.
time.
Instant gratification as well as delayed gratification, because the statistics don't lie. We're going to get more suicides if we can't change the narrative, change the conversation with ourselves by being the example first and foremost, leaders of our family, leaders of businesses, just leaders in life, and be the example for others to follow. So anyone watching this or listening to this right now, you need to step up. You need to take ownership over your life and stop living by default, live by design, intentional design. Stop just existing and start living, being the example for your kids, for the so that you really can be everything that you want, because we don't know when our time is up. That's the thing that we do take for granted, like the example that you just set. We don't know when our time is up. The average age of death is 80 in America and in Australia. All right. I just want to wake people up. I think that the movie, The Bucket List, is BS, because it's about two blokes, as we say here in Australia, two blokes that get given a cancer diagnosis, and then they write a bucket list. That is dumb. I've based my whole career on a stupid movie. So, because I want to wake people up before they get given a use by date. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about. Don't let that level of pain be your motivator.
Well, you're right. I think in the movie, the concept is that they finally realized that they missed, and now it's time to catch up. But again, time is very scarce at that point. Now is the time. To your point, you're early on. You can design it and enjoy it. You got to do things. You got to go to places, see things, do things.
Oh, but I haven't
Things
got
that you
money. I've got the kids. I've got, blah, 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 blah. All right. So we're not talking about travel here, guys. What I've encouraged people to do, especially over the last 12 months, is be a tourist in your own hometown first. It's about choosing happiness. Forget about Machu Picchu, forget about Mount Everest, forget about Africa, forget about Australia, or don't forget about Australia. We need you. We need the tourist dollars. So when it opens up, come here, spend the American dollars. It does really well for our economy. But at the end of the day, there's so many other things. This is about intentionally choosing happiness, right?
Yes. So Travis, actually, you just hit a very, very super point right there. People oftentimes think bucket list, voyages, trips, and travel.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
right.
Got the
It's not.
classics, skydiving, bungee jumping, run a marathon, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No.
So
They're
let's
the
define
classics.
that. Let's give us
Yeah.
a little bit of that nice juice. What is it
Well,
that is really a true bucket list? Besides those things that are common that everybody thinks of.
look, I'd be remiss of me not to mention the old book here that I was one of the things on my bucket list, which we'll get into. I'm sure we'll put the link and all that, but it's called the My Bucket List Blueprint. And it's designed. Remember this thing? Remember this thing? Remember
Yep.
these? Yeah, it's called a pen. All right. This is called paper. I know it's so analog, it's crazy, but it's designed to put that onto there. So if you grab a book, guys, I want you to abuse it. All right. I want you to write all the way through it, dog ear the thing, hack into it. And at the end of it, you will have a reverse bucket list mapped out for yourself. And you'll also have a future bucket list mapped out for yourself using the guide in here. Okay. Using the 12 My Bucket List Blueprint steps. Okay. Better yet, to make you fully accountable, there's a little link at the back. And Hurricane, I definitely want yours. All right. I put on all my podcast hosts. I need your bucket list. So you're going to send it to me as well. There's a little link in the back of the book. The point being, because I want to make everyone accountable. Plus, I want 365 really random bucket lists. Hashtag next book. So, so
I like that.
the thing is using the blueprint, which I've been banging on about for the last 10 years. And I did the talk, Life's Too Short by me, Trav Bell, did the TED talk in front of 2,000 people, ticked that off my bucket list in front of 2,000 people. 18 minutes of I was terrified. But
Oh, you did well.
T at the end of the My Bucket List blueprint is travel adventures. The other ones, real simple. M, meet a personal hero. There it is on the back, actually.
All right.
So M, meet a personal hero. Y, your proud achievements. B, buy that special something. U, ultimate challenges. C, conquer a fear. K, kind acts for others. E, express yourself, the creative part of you. T, take lessons, which a lot of people have been doing lately. L, leave a legacy. I, personal favorite of mine, idiotic stuff. S, satisfy curiosity. And T, travel adventures. So it's not just about travel. Let's demystify that. All right. So there's so many other things. I'm doing 5 things at the moment, and I'm in lockdown. I can't move out of Australia. But the thing is, it's not about doing one thing and then crossing off and then another. It's about really creating this snowball effect of momentum, and my advice is once you've mapped it out, once you've written it out, then what you're doing is you're going after the low-hanging fruit first, the things that you can do, not what you can't do, but the things that you can do. And that'll give you, crossing off a few of those ones will give you the momentum, motivation to smash through the bigger ones. Again, we're trying to create this, get over the initial inertia, push the snowball down the hill and watch it gain momentum to the point where you can't stop it. And you're going to keep adding things on until you die. And when you cross them off, it goes onto your reverse bucket list, and that's your done list. All right. And that's probably what they'll show at your funeral. They'll put put all those pretty pictures next to your favorite song and say, see you later. But at the end of the day, that's, and just find a vehicle that gives you the time flow and the cash flow that you love turning up to every day. And I think that's a holy grail, right?
It is
Trav's big philosophy on life.
Well, actually, Travis, I do relate to a lot of what you just said. First of all, I love those acronyms and how you played with them. I mean, and really, they all make sense. And each one of them is a category that you can really expand on. You can write a book on each one of those.
You should see some of the shit that people want to do, man. Oh my God. It's crazy.
Now, I also love the bucket list on the knuckles there. There you go, baby. That's it.
There you go.
You gotta believe.
I know.
I know.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I to make matters worse, I went in there with my boys and they were in the tattoo, like booth whilst I was getting done, and that one right there really, really hurt. Like I've got other tattoos and stuff, but that really, that just got, there's just that nerve one, and they're going, man up.
Was that on the bucket list?
Yeah.
How can you fear?
But this is express yourself, like for me, the different ways of doing that. The TED talk was a proud achievement, doing the this is a proud achievement, but also express yourself. Right now I was just on another podcast and I'm reading 52 books in a year. So far, after 2 months, reading 52 books in a year, that's another ultimate challenge. Because I can't go and climb mountains or do any of that stuff right now, but they can be physical, mental, intellectual challenges as well. So, there's a bunch of things that you can do. And I think that's the real core point here. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do versus what you can't do. And I think everyone tends to focus on what they cannot do in times like this. Flip it. What can you do? And more importantly, from a gratitude standpoint, start building out your reverse it bucket list of what you've done already. And that gives you the foundation of gratitude. It gives you the foundation of, maybe you've been living by default, but you've done some cool stuff. So what could you do if you actually put some thought into it? So I want you to take some time out of your life to work on your life, grab a book, obviously, hack into it, map out what this thing looks like.
Well, listen, I mean, Chaz, it's great advice. And you know, you said you're doing a lot of things right now in lockdown. I can relate to that, and I know a lot of people have done that. To your point, we've seen a lot of creativity, innovation in the last few months, and people have learned to adjust and come up with different way of enjoying their life, right? So
Yeah.
so that is important. Now you have
Yeah.
all those elements in the bucket list. Personally, can you say that you've actually achieved all of them yet, or you still have a few that are, or you're
And I've
probably
got another three. I've got another 350 things to do.
all right, good.
And
So
I just
so
added one. And I just added one last week. And one that I added was to stay in the original ice hotel in Sweden.
okay, that's very unique. Why is that? It's something that you've always wanted to do, or it
Because I
just is so
can.
special. I like that. Can do attitude. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
at the end of the day, and but that being said, like one of the other things, one of the things I'm working on right now is the creatives, the express yourself. Is as a reward for doing the book for myself. And I think, as entrepreneurs, we're pretty hard on ourselves. So I'm trying to get better at rewarding myself. So I bought that something special, and that was a DJ deck, a 4-channel mixer, right? And one of the things that I want to do is actually DJ a gig, like DJ a party or DJ a gig, or and instead of dancing on the other side of the decks, be the guy behind the decks, and and go for it. So I'm skilling up at the moment, and that's definitely something you can do in lockdown. I'm 47. I gotta grow up.
well. Listen, you and I have a lot in common, my friend. I actually have my DJ equipment right behind the screen right here.
Oh shit! Really?
So it's right
What sort
there
of
in my
music?
computer.
What sort of music do you play?
Oh, a little bit of everything. I just play with it. I don't do anything with it. I just have fun.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
just tonight I'm gonna do a TikTok with it.
Boom.
You see,
Boom.
we get it on the bucket list right there.
Oh, we could have a challenge. We could have, yeah.
Hey, challenge, baby. Welcome.
Hurricane versus bucket list guy. Yeah,
There you
boom.
go.
Let's put it on. That we could do a tour right there.
Oh, well, listen, USA versus Australia.
That's it.
Oh, that's funny. Well, listen, I
Love it.
mean, you said it. I mean, doing different things. I mean, I believe in that. I just posted 2 days ago something about that on TikTok, that you got to diversify.
Excuse me, I'm where?
TikTok.
Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I got the hype
look,
on that one too.
look, I'm losing connection. Oh my god.
Oh
Oh,
shit. Oh, you know what? I mean, it's a fever, dude. Once it's like this guy said I'm hooked. I actually got hooked, but
no.
it drives, man. It drives the message.
I'll have to look into it. There's too much noise. There's too much noise now.
Well,
Oh
it's
dear.
fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so, like I was saying, things that we do. I mean, it's a matter of doing different things. Like again, you said you're doing 5 things. I'm doing about a few of those. I work full time. I got my channels. I got this fitness going on. There's so many things. And to your point, also always learning. And those are key elements for us to, I guess, to live a better and happier life. Now you did TED. That is a big deal. I mean,
mate, scared the hell out of me.
2,000 people is no picnic.
No, not
stage.
at all. And if you watch it back, and about the 4th minute, I start to get it. And I've got it's an 18-minute talk, so I was super nervous, and that's the biggest one in Australia, the Melbourne one. So I wanted to be on one of the big ones, not one of these university little kind of thing. And I like me, when I do a keynote speech, I'm normally running around like an idiot on stage. Me being on a 3x3 red dot, mate, with 4 cameras on me. Yeah, it's like a monkey in a cage.
Listen, you do your thing. You go on stage, you do your stuff. The cameras don't exist. It's pitch black. You don't see anybody.
Now, you've done a TED Talk?
No, I haven't actually.
When's yours happening?
I don't know. I got to plan that now. That's it.
Bucket list.
See, now you threw one of my 365 to do. So I
There we
got
go.
down to
So, but
364.
basically, what this does, right? So from an NLP point of view, from a psychology point of view, the problem is that everyone's so busy on their daily to-do list that they forget about their bucket list. It's like what's easy to do is easy not to do as well. So why do I have to write it down? Well, if you actually write stuff down, let alone goals, let alone bucket list items, you've got a 42% more likelihood of them actually manifesting. 42%, so nearly halfway there. So just write it down. We'll see what happens. Because when you write some stuff down, you're basically you're typing into your Google search machine, into the universe, to allow the how to turn up. Only worry about the what. Only worry about the why, right?
The how.
Don't worry about the how. All right. So that's where people overthink it, because they don't want to disappoint themselves. Sure, I want to go to Machu Picchu, or I want to go to Australia, or whatever. Just write down, want to go to Australia, and see what happens. Because with that search engine term that you're plugging into Google here, you're actually telling the universe, not to get too metaphysical here, but you're telling the universe to start showing you the path. The problem is we're not typing in. We need to start typing in more of what we want and actually going one step further and getting analog about it and writing this stuff down.
Let me tell you, Travis, I have a pen and a book right by my head. Literally at night, I wake up, something pops, I get up, write it down. And that works miracles, because the next morning, you don't forget about things. You get up, you have it, and you can go back to it. It does work.
I mean, people have to trust it, right? People have to trust it a lot more than what we're saying. Now, just
they gotta try it.
Maybe do it. Yeah, do it. Just don't knock it until you try it. It's amazing it's amazing what shows up. It's like, I could give you so many examples where that's shown up for people.
Well, you just stated, I mean, you wrote 50 plus books, right? And, you start the book with an idea, and then you start, and voila, a couple 100 pages later, you have a book. And, once you start, it's the first step is everything, right? You just have to start. I think that's the biggest challenge, to your point. People are afraid to start or afraid to fail. Yeah. Don't. Just get up, get it done, think about it, there's a will, there's a way. You'll find a way.
Throw yourself into it. Don't overthink it. And I think people overthink stuff way too much.
That is right. Well, again, I mean, you've done it all, and you're still working on plenty. And that's really the way it is. I've actually, one of my first shows I had done, just to introduce myself, I talked about my own little dream since I was a kid, and everything that I put in my mind, I was able to do at the time I wanted. And there's always that. Yep. There's always a plan, short term, long term, different things. You want to be places, you want to do things, you do it. I'm involved in martial arts, I'm involved in this, I'm involved in that. I own the businesses, whatever it is. And you know what? People may judge you. People may criticize you. Who cares? Really? I mean, does it matter?
I was just actually talking, I was on another podcast earlier with this guy in Spain, and he was younger, and he's got a really kind of a young market. And I said to him, he's like, what advice have you got for my younger listeners? And he's in university over there, and he's a really cool guy. Coming from the heart, like he generally wanted to hear my opinion on it. I said, and I won't curse here, but I said, the sooner you build up that I don't give a muscle, the better. The sooner you stop buying into what all your peers are doing, the better. The sooner you put yourself into embarrassing situations, challenging situations, where you may feel embarrassed, you may feel, that is good. That is calcifying your mind. That is, calcifying your psychology. Because the people who win are the people that get attention, the people that are, willing to be themselves, whether it be offline or online, but willing to be themselves. The sooner you get that through your head, the better.
Totally agreed. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, really, you got to go out there. You got to put yourself out there.
Be afraid. Don't be afraid of getting rejected.
Exactly. Have your signature. I always say this. I mean, you are your best promoter and you are your signature. You don't have to be like everybody else. Yeah, I mean, you can learn from everybody else, the good and the bad and ugly, and you filter that and you make your own little brand. And that's really
Yeah, 100%.
something that I've, again, we talked earlier about my name. That's kind of like, hey, everybody knows my true name, but this is the one I chose to actually operate with, just like
Yeah.
Trav, the bucket list guy.
I know, and that's the thing, mate. People know me more as the bucket list guy than my actual real name. So
I get it.
I used to take offence to that, but no, unfortunately, Trav Bell hasn't got much street cred. I think the bucket list guy's got more.
Listen, I mean, that's a whole thing. I mean, people remember unique stuff. When you're different, people will tend to remember you. And again, I think also building a legacy. You just mentioned legacy. Everybody should have a legacy in this world. I mean, you don't want to be a person that just comes through this life and departs this life and there's no remnants of you. I mean, you're just gone. You're not even a memory. I mean, hopefully you will have an impact in life. I mean, one of the things about this station was to bring all my 20 plus years of knowledge in the healthcare and bring it up and bring in, new views and opinions and things to the public, sharing ideology, and that's going to be behind. I mean, if I depart today, I mean, at least this show will survive me, and that's good enough. The message will go to somebody else. That's really legacy. The plan.
Yeah.
So Travis, you are writing more stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
You're not stopping.
No, I'm not done yet. I feel like I've only just begun.
I like that. How do you cope with all this with your personal life? Because that is a question that everybody will probably ask.
That's a good question. I guess for the I going back to the Tim Ferriss stuff as a 4-hour work week. Something that hit me, and that was on my bucket list to actually meet Tim Ferriss, who wrote the 4-hour work week. Some people may or may not know him, but he was like a lightning bolt in my life back in the day. In that this whole online world, so really helped me make some decisions. And I wanted to meet the guy as part of my bucket list, so I actually had lunch with him when he came to Australia. So there you go.
What you did there is key, right? You wanted it, you made it happen. People will probably think like, I'm never going to be able to talk to this guy. You can, you did.
Just write it down, see what happens.
That's right.
Yeah, and through a whole range of stalking and doing no, we made it happen. So, but the point is, what was I saying?
We're talking about,
lifestyle design. So one of the things that was really poignant for me in that book was around lifestyle design and setting up a life so that supports, setting up the business and life so it all supports each other, and getting really clear on what that lifestyle design actually looks like. I knew I wanted to run a business online after I'd run a lot of offline, bricks and mortar businesses through the gyms and stuff that we had, the online world. And I want to be near the ocean so I can literally see the ocean from where I am right now. And I surf, so that kind of helps. And I grew up surfing. I grew up surfing there, and so I wanted that. I wanted a place that overlooks the ocean. The family I've got is an absolute bonus. And I wanted a business that was all around the world, which we have now. And I've got, sure, I'm the bucketlistguy.com, but what we've also 3 years ago, so I've been doing that for 10 years, but 3 years ago, we actually started certifying bucket list coaches around the world. So they buy a license and they become a bucket list coach and they can teach this stuff. So it's sort of like life coaching, but it's like a life coaching framework, but without saying life coaching. So now we've got certified bucket list coaches in 22 countries around the world. And so I'm founder CEO of that, but I still run everything from home because that's how I want it. Plus, I'm as annoying as hell to be in an office with because I talk too much.
Welcome to my club.
I'm too.
That's what they say about me.
Yeah. So hurricane, yeah. So the thing is, so I've designed my businesses, my life, and if you're not aware of this by now, mate, but for the last 10 years, my bucket list has literally been a tax deduction.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Okay.
I get it.
and so if I go to the top of a mountain or I do something and I hold up the ticket before you kick it sign, there it is.
I love it.
All right. And I put that up on social media. Mate, is that marketing for my business, or yes or no?
Yes, your vacation is a tax deduction.
What? So still to this day, my accountant says, you're not as dumb as you look, are you, Trav? No. Yeah.
Well, so to that, go ahead, Trav.
Yeah, but the whole lifestyle design, I think it's really important. And I think that a lot of people are looking at that right now during COVID. I know here that you try and find someone that works in an office, even here in Australia, that works in an office 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Now, I think that's going to be a rarity in years and years to come, because we've got flexible work routines now. Some companies have actually said, you know what, we're not leasing that building anymore. We've got a remote work team, because during the last 12 months, you've actually been more productive. And you're happier.
It has been proven.
Yes. And and families are closer now too, albeit, some haven't got the supportive ecosystem as others. But, I know where we live down the coast, we've had, my good friend of mine is heads up a real estate agency. And he said in the last month and a half, 2 months, that people from Melbourne, we're about an hour and a half out of Melbourne, 30 properties have been bought sight unseen. Like, people are just going, I've got to get down the coast because I'm done with the city now, and I'm into lifestyle design. I just want to get into the market because it's, the market's gone crazy. So that's happened a lot around Australia. A lot of people have just flooded to the coast, or, to these regions where people want to retire. So their maybe 20-year plan, 10-year plan, or whatever plan has now just come, it's like a now plan, because now I'm working from home. Now I'm not commuting for 2-3 hours a day, and I'm not doing what I was doing. So it's a really interesting shift. And I encourage everyone to take time out, obviously, of their life to do their bucket list, but also look at this whole lifestyle design thing, because I know it can make you happier.
It does. Well, so let me ask you a question, Travis. So what would you say to someone who's negative and will say, well, Travis, yeah, it's great. I hear all the story that you tell me, all the success, but you're special. You're the exception. I mean, what would you tell someone? I mean, I know what I would tell them, but what would you say to someone like that? Because unfortunately, there's a whole bunch of folks that think that way.
Yeah, I don't have that many people like that around me, and these days, I just don't. I cull them really quickly. I mean, you're in the health and fitness game now, and I was too for 20 years. Do you think people know how to lose weight?
Yes.
And tone up. Do exercise, right? Do some stuff with it that makes you sweat, and do some weight training, and don't eat crap, and eat less crap that you're doing with your exercise, and you might have half a crack at being able to achieve results. What do you mean? I've got to move more and I've got to eat less and less crappy food. Yep. Wow. Revelation. If you don't know that by now and you're a grown adult, you're a freaking idiot. All right.
Unfortunately, that is true.
Let's map that over into life. If you I'm a coach, so I always ask, question with a question. I've got all these restrictions. I've got all these things. All right, cool. Well, are you happy? No. Do you want to change? No. You're an idiot. Go away. That would be my response. Do you want to change? Yes. Cool.
Let's get to it.
Which particular area do you want to change? And look, what's happened, and a lot of people have become, might be dissatisfied in their job. Like, if you're in a crappy, toxic relationship, that one's easy. Bite the bullet. If you're in a crappy job, sure, you've got to pay the bills. You've got to keep food on the table. But I did this earlier. Right now, a lot of people are doing a recalibration on what they're doing for money right now. A lot of people have started side hustles. You know, they've started to. The whole world has gone online in the last 12 months.
Yep.
Now, every single business is now an online business.
That's where we
So
live
it's got
too.
noisy too. But we might be in a situation where I really want to do what these guys are doing, but I've got to leverage into it because I still got to put food on the table. Blah, blah, blah. I get that. So let's look at this. This is your love to job, and this is your have to job. Where people get it wrong is they quit and think that they're going to go straight to their love to job. No, dickhead, because there's no money being made or no cash flow coming out of this thing yet. So let's optimize, let's get this vehicle happening and making some cash flow, right? And let's start finding some flexible work hours, some stay-at-homes, work online more in this one that you have to do. All right, cool. And that'll give you enough opportunity, maybe enough time to start that side hustle. All right. There's going to be a time in the future where you got your love to and you have to, and it's going to be really busy. Just be prepared for it. But you're going to have to build up enough resources in this have to give yourself that conviction. And there's going to become that tipping point where you can go, you know what? I've got enough certainty around this one. Now it's time to leverage out of it. But where people get it wrong is they go, I want to start a new business. I hate what I'm doing. It's like, bang. No wonder most businesses fall over in the first one. I think it's 80% in the first year and another 80% in 5 years after that. So don't do that. Just because you hate it, put up with a little bit, tolerate it a little bit more. But then on the side, put all your efforts into here and then start to leverage. So again, I've had to do that with so many people, and people are like, oh, right, I get that. Because there's a lot of people that are dissatisfied with their jobs. But you've got to have the ball, so to speak. You've got to have the courage to really check in with yourself, and give it an honest stock take, an honest appraisal of where you're at in every area of your life. And unfortunately, it's pain that motivates us. Now, I don't know why I'm doing that anymore, but I'm lonely. I haven't been laid, so I'm going to lose weight. I've just had I've just gone the flight of stairs and I'm at the top and I'm breathing heavily and there's a bit of you need that level of pain to get you going. Yes, most people do. I haven't got the energy to play with my kids and I have to go and have a sleep for half a day after I go. Well, that level of pain, not being able to play with your kids, that's maybe enough for you to get off your up. I'm poor to the point where I cannot pay my bill. Well, that's enough pain. What's that level of pain that you need to get to? Let's wake up and let's not let it get any worse before you actually do something about it. But the coach secret weapon is to identify that pain in that person and bring it out and say, okay, well, is enough yet? Well, if it is, then let's do something about it. Because when people admit that they're in that level of pain and they admit that they need help, then they're coachable, and that's where you can actually help them. All right. But if they're like, no, I know, and using excuses, blame, denial, that no, I'm not fat. Dude, you're fat. All right. Get over it. Okay. Enough said. Draw the line in the sand. Like you're unhappy. Everyone knows it. When are you going to recognize? No, denial. So you're a victim if you're still blaming, if you're using excuses and you're denying. But when you get to that your perceived rock bottom, then you can start working for that client, working with that client.
And Travis, I think you actually went ahead of me and you answered one of the questions I was going to ask about how to balance that. But you're right, people are afraid to move from comfort zones, and also they get desperate and they don't want to balance it out. I mean, I give you the example. I still have a regular job, but I'm doing all the stuff that I like on the side. We have businesses until which balance comes on, to your point. And then at that point, you can live the life you want any given day. That's a big deal.
100%.
But the biggest,
and you really can.
You can. I believe in that, definitely, most certainly. But here's the biggest excuse I hear all the time, and I'd like your opinion about it. I don't have time to do anything. I mean, that's the most, common one besides money. is time, and we're
Yeah,
talking
but
about the bucket list and time right now.
yeah. Well, and time is a big excuse, and a lot of people use it as uses one very, very regularly. It's funny when you get, when people get given a cancer diagnosis, then your time is not infinite. Your time is very finite. And it's funny how people become infinitely resourceful when they're staring down the barrel of a use by date. So it's not a matter of resources, it's a matter of resourcefulness. And whatever you do, I don't know how much more of a shake-up I can give people, but you're going to, like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to die soon. And I give that virtual cancer diagnosis when I do my talks, that 80 squares thing. The average age of death is 80, right? So if you take away your age from that, it's
Expiration date.
It's a pretty full-on thing to look at.
Yep.
And then you dial in, all right, do you know people have been diagnosed or died from cancer? Yep. How many? 1, 2, 3, maybe 10, whatever it is, a lot. In that TED talk, I had, 2,000 people put up their hands with multiple fingers. That's pretty harrowing to look at. And then the third question that I ask is, how many of them, those people that have been diagnosed or died from cancer, how many of them made their 80 squares? Shit, not many. Well, how much more of a shock do you need to get off your ass and go do something, right? And if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. You'll become, it's not a matter of resources, it's a matter of resourcefulness. Find a different way of doing it.
Travis, again, that was deep. I think we could live that. We're coming to the end of the show here. This was real, and it was very straightforward. It was very compelling. And if someone is listening today to this show and in the future, because this is going to play and replay, you cannot miss this opportunity to take this advice here that's been given to us. So again, on behalf of our audiences and our listeners, and me personally, I thank you for coming on the show, and certainly all the valuable and direct, very simple stuff, but it's really core that anyone can apply in their life and really take a real look at where they are today and where they'd like to be, to your point, whatever that's what remains in their life. So that being said, Travis, thank you. For our audience and listeners, thank you for watching the iHealth channel and the FinFab channel. It's been good. Thank you for listening to iHealth Radio. We'll talk tomorrow for our next show. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
See you guys.